Eileen, I have a question for you since you are in the education system
Sure.
and you're knowledgeable in this. Do you think that a lot of teachers, I mean, I don't know if they teach this in schools, but do you think that emotional intelligence is important for a teacher to have as a skill?
Oh, absolutely. That's a very good, deep question.
Why do you think that these educational schools are not teaching these? I mean, it's only focused on IQ versus EQ. I think that that's so wrong. What are your thoughts about that?
I agree 100%. Um, when I was a teacher, I focused a lot on what was making the children detached when they'd come back from recess or lunch. And I kind of started picking up on the fact that when they're playing and uh, other children are not playing with them, if they're sitting alone at snack time or sitting alone at lunchtime or having a fight at recess and coming back to the class, it was a lot more difficult to focus and concentrate on the subject matter. So I made an intentional effort to buddy them up or hey, so and so sitting alone at recess. Why don't you have a really nice group of friends and you look like you're having fun, go play with so and so.
Hmm.
And then they'd come back and it was a totally different uh learning experience for them when they'd come back because their confidence had built too.
Hmm.
And so it was very important for me to teach that to all of my students. You don't like sitting alone. So, and making them aware of the feelings that their peers were feeling. I think that now it's a lot about numbers. The education system has changed
Hmm.
drastically. Um, it's not like it used to be when I was a kid, that homey feeling, or at least public schools. Private schools, of course, are a little bit different. But in public schools, it's all about the numbers that you're meeting, or the teachers meeting the standards that they're supposed to be teaching. And um, I think the focus on those is really taking away from honing into the children and seeing what's affecting them when they're coming into your classroom. Is it how they were at home? Can you help them detach from that when they're in the classroom so that their level of education can increase? It's changed and it's unfortunate.
Very. Do you feel that it's right to determine if the child is capable by a grade?
No, I had terrible grades growing up in grade school.
Exactly. I mean, not exactly
Yeah,
like I
yeah,
know,
yeah. No. Oh no, are my report cards online?
but you
Don't hire her. She
exact.
got C's in elementary school. Oh my gosh.
You're right.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so funny.
Uh,
But it like I feel that's so discouraging
yeah.
to see. Oh, you have all straight A because this is what I've kind of discovered, and I'm thinking from a therapeutic background that um, a straight A having straight A's could
Hmm.
also be a trauma response.
Yeah.
Like how bad would it feel if you don't have an A and you go home and you have your face smashed into the wall
Oh
by a
yeah.
parent? Right?
Oh yeah.
And these things happen, especially in like the Indo-European, Middle
Oh
Eastern cultures. Their whole reputation is in the child's grade. So that's besides the point.
yeah.
My thing is like, why are we determining the child's worth by a grade? Why are we doing this? Where did we go wrong? Where is the emotional intelligence in that? I don't know. That's like a deeper, deeper
I
question.
know. It's a
But it's so unfortunate that these things are happening in these educational systems.
it really is. I mean, if you ask me, it'd be much better to grade the children on effort
Yeah.
and well-roundedness
Hmm.
as opposed to just what grade they're getting on their test. Maybe they had a bad day. Maybe something's going on at home that we can help with, providing. I think of this often, and I think it would be so nice to have therapists at school to help kids who are troubled at home navigate these situations, like if they're being abused when they're
Hmm.
getting bad grades. Who can they talk to? Who can help? How can educators, not me anymore, but how can educators tap into that in a legal capacity
Hmm.
and help as opposed to just simply submit a report? Oh, this child had, I did my teaching credentials at a public school, and there were, unfortunately, it was in a very low socioeconomic
Mm.
district, and there were children that were in foster care and were getting abused that we learned of, and it was just about reporting. I mean, how
Hmm.
sad is that? I mean,
Hmm.
you just have to, you have an obligation as an educator to report it. Then what? It's sad that your duty ends there.
What do you think that, what skills besides the emotional intelligence should the teacher have to be able to have that empathy for the kids and understanding?
That's a really good question, and I think it goes to what I always advocate for is do what you love. If these teachers loved what they did, they would do much better. Don't just become a teacher because it was easier for you to do that than what something else. Tap into what you love, and if you have a passion for educating or if you have a passion for children, um, then follow that journey for yourself because I think that the disconnect comes from not loving what they do, these educators, or trying to push a particular agenda.
Hmm.
Some of these educators have an agenda that's self fulfilling, and that's where the problem really lies.
Can you tell us what that self-fulfilling looks like?
If they have particular political views that they want
Hmm.
to
Like public schools right now, whatever is
exactly,
happening.
exactly. If they have a particular view on politics, that should stay at home with
Hmm.
them instead of being pressed onto our students.
Hmm.
And the students should just really be nurtured and cared for and taught.
Yeah, not politics is
Has no space in
has no
education.
space in education. Education, I mean, this is what I feel. I feel like teachers are second mothers.
I agree. And it's not unless you feel that way that you're going to do a good job.
Yeah,
Yeah, you have to take
like
that.
being a mom.
Yeah. And
Even if you're not,
exactly.
the image of
Exactly.
parenting.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was very young when I started teaching. I was only 21, but still had that love for what I did and love for the children and the passion and the compassion for them. And so I think that that's what's lacking in some
Yes.
of these educators.
Yes. And also, I think that a teacher has to have a good mental health.
Absolutely. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
brilliant. Why don't
You
yeah.
you cannot, it's the same thing with I mean, with clinicians, there's such a protocol, right? First you have to pass your law and ethics and things of that sort, but teachers should also have the same agenda. And I also kind of going back to what you were saying about how you were so young, you became a teacher, but you had this love and this feeling of nurture that comes from your mother. So if you had a pretty decent household, that kind of transfers into the relationships you're going to have with your students and other people.
Yeah.